Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney. And there you see our shot of the track and the turf course. And please note that the main track is fast, but we're going to start the day with the turf course listed as good. Another beautiful day in South Florida. It is certainly heated up, Acacia. I mean, it is in the low 80s, it feels like, down here.
Yeah, I heard on the radio driving in this morning that they're expecting to be about 83, 84 degrees this afternoon today in Florida. So we'll hopefully be sending you some sunshine and some warmth from wherever you are watching. But I'm sure that good turf course, as we did have a little bit more rain, and it needed the rain too, will certainly all the moisture should dry out this afternoon with the warm weather.
Yeah, with this warm weather, and not only are we sending you warm weather and good thoughts, we're sending you lots of scuttles. We have $1.2 million in the Rainbow Six jackpot guarantee. So if you can get that ticket down, you can take home over $1 million.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's guaranteed in the jackpot pool. It starts in race 5 today as we have 10 races on the card. It's just a 20-cent base wager.
Well, we're going to kick off the week, as usual, with a couple of pick fives, and Acacia has her early pick five ticket she wants to show you.
I do. We have a $24 play, have about 2 horses in nearly every leg with the exception of race number 3. I've got 2 horses early on. The number 8, Pareto Optimal, the French bred by Golden Horn, taking that big drop in class for Chad Brown is the favorite, but I'm going to try to beat this one with a bit of a price play, the 6 Global Vision. We'll talk about in a little bit. Too deep in race number 2, wanting a little bit more coverage in the 3rd there. I do think that the 10 Generic Joe is perhaps the one to beat on the drop in class, though likely a short price and maybe not exactly trustworthy. Too deep in the 4th race, and then we wrap things up sprinting on turf in race number 5, and I've got Zano Boys and Street Copper.
Yeah, so $24, I thought it was $36, but very affordable at $24 today. And I had a similar thought process in the opening leg today. Was trying to beat Pareto Omnimal, the French bred. I went with the number 9 horse, but let's start with, I believe this is your long shot play of the day.
It is, and taking a little bit of attention right now at 5-1, but wanting to potentially beat the favorite, I'm going to take a shot with the 6 Global Vision, as he debuted back in July at Gulfstream, and that was a race meant for the turf, though it did come off. He showed a lot of speed to finish second, though a distant second at that day, but the figure came back okay for the race. Takes a little bit of a drop in class now to the 16,000 off the layoff, and while on the bottom side, maybe there's not a ton of pedigree in the immediate female family, it's by Pioneer of the Nile, which is a fine turf influence, but what really pushed me over the edge was, A, he'll be a price for a barn that's been having a solid meet, and those 2 turf workouts up at Palmetto's, very sharp, and one in 59 and 1, the other one for 3 furlongs and 36 flat. So this one clearly liking the grass up at Palmetto's.
Yeah, certainly starting to stuff up there. I did go with another type of speed play in here with the number 9 Coy, who's dropping a notch in the claimant scale. And I see with him with speed to be on or with the pace in the field. If you go back, besides the horse you were talking about, it's very light in the speed department. Liz Dobles has got Jose Ortiz named to ride in there. I guess the number 8, and we both put in second, Pareto Optimal, is free falling to the 16 level, getting a kitchen sink worth of changes today. It's a gelding, Lasix, blinkers, failed to show much yet, but at Monmouth Park in July for Chad Brown. Solid with these class drops. I gotta watch one of these races.
I agree. It's just a very big drop in class. Second time out for a horse that did sell at the Tattersall's October yearling sale initially for the U.S. equivalent of $275,000. He's a gelding by Golden Horn, who we don't see many of here in the U.S. Of course, Golden Horn, the ARC winner, a tremendous racehorse for John Gosden. So it's a kind of a big drop immediately, I should say. He may win. He may just be slightly better on that significant class drop, but I did have a few questions.
Yeah, Big Perm is dropping to this level, responded to the equipment change with the blinkers off, ran okay second for Paco Lopez in the saddle for trainer Kent Sweezy. Race 2, we're on the main track this afternoon. As we mentioned at the top, the main track is fast. 1 mile, claimers 4 and up, non-winners of 2 in life, $6,250. Looks like the number 5 Nimble Beast is a major player in the spot.
Yeah, Irad Ortiz is going to be aboard for Kelly Breen. Picked up this horse 2 starts back for the 62.50 from Kathleen O'Connell, who of course does an excellent excellent job, but was actually beaten by a horse that Kelly trained, and It's a Risk, who won that race at a big upset. They stepped him up last time to the 12.5, and he ran okay. So it's kind of just back to the level that they claimed him at. Kelly Breen's barn has been in very good form, especially claiming horses and seeing Irad Ortiz take the call. It's kind of go time for this guy.
And we both have the number 1 Excalibur in second, who's turning back to this one-turn mile today after closing well, finished second. Again, similar quality. That was going the mile in the 16 for Jorge Delgado. Luis Sayas the top. He's run okay the mile in the past, so I think Excalibur, if Nibble Beast, has it claiming to slice, maybe Excalibur is the one that could turn it around and maybe spring a little bit of an upset.
And he seemed to really improve getting the blinkers back on last time out. They had taken them off 2 starts back, and it was an okay performance. He might be a little bit of a price today, too.
Going to race number 3, we're going to go back on that good turf course at 5 furlongs, 3-year-olds, $16,000. Do have a scratch in here of the number 4. Not a lot of scratches on today's card. And I think you're absolutely right. You said when you were putting your ticket together that it looks like Generic Joe, the Irish bred, might be the one to beat in this spot.
He is taking a drop in class from the 25,000 to the 16. He'll likely be a very short price, and that's why it kind of pained me to pick him in here. But, I mean, he debuted at 25, ran second. Last time out, Under the Cougars just wired the field and ran everybody off their feet last time out. So Generic Joe will take attention, but he just seems, and he had an outside post going 5 furlongs last time too, just seems like he makes a lot of sense in this spot. I had some intrigue with the number 7 Outdoor Dining, who must have been named in honor of COVID, as we're all looking for outdoor dining now. But this one is the half-brother to multiple graded stakes winner Cheermeister, who loved this Gulfstream turf for Armando de la Cerda. Does debut for $16,000, but there's plenty of turf pedigree there.
Yeah, I went with the horse you have a little further down. You're on your ticket in second, the King Achilles, who drops, departs from the rail after stalking the pace. Weekly finished fourth. Oh, he was only 67-1 last time. That was his career debut, going 5 distance for Alexis Delgado. Lionel Reyes in the saddle. Do not have a lot of success where horses, have run well at 67-1 and come back down. But Generic Joe, there's a list of trainers that you bet you can't win with. Wesley Ward is in my top 3.
Oh, it's tough sometimes. Well, I think the biggest thing is that you know that this horse isn't going to offer any value. And so how do you try to make some value with it in this spot? So I included a first-time starter. I agree with you, though. The King Achilles did run well for the turf debut. And I had a little interest in the 3 Con Permiso, who switches back to the grass. The only turf race he's been able to run so far was against Maiden Special Weight Company.
Yeah, he's hit the board in a couple of bottom-level sprints in the dirt. Only his second time on the turf. Paco Lopez going to ride for Antonio Sano. Race 4 this afternoon, 7 furlongs, maiden claimants, 3-year-olds, $16,000. A clean slate, no scratches or jockey changes. We'll have 8 go to the post. And we both started it off with the number 6 in here, Union Gap, who's dropping to the 16 level. Going to take the blinkers off this afternoon. We're going to go back and show you this horse's start. Just got murdered at the start. You see he's right there. He's the number 3. And you'll just see he just gets the old sandwich play there. And he's, last in the race. So he just really, I think, lost his whole chance there. He finished a distant 7th in that race against 50 maidens. I put a line through that, drop it to the 16 level for the hot Saffie Joseph Jr. barn, and that's why I put it on top.
I think that the drop in class combined with the blinkers off, and it almost sounds counterintuitive for a horse that's not great out of the gate, because wiped out at start, then off slow and hopped at the start in the debut. Sometimes when you do see horses being bumped around at the break, it's because they're not getting out of the gate as fast as they need to. And again, counterintuitive sometimes, taking the blinkers off, almost allowing them to kind of see their competition, helps them relax a little bit and sometimes stay more focused. So that could be the key for this guy, is they do take the blinkers off, but he also, again, takes what seems to be a needed drop in class. I thought the 3 Clo Prince, switching from turf to dirt, but it is a big drop in class, and this was the turf to dirt angle for Brian Lynch. It does have some strong numbers, and Jose Ortiz is going to be in the saddle.
Yeah, I used the number 5 Chip Shape in second, who was beaten half length at this level on the dirt, albeit on that sloppy track at Gulfstream Park West. Returns to the main track. A pair of clunkers against better on the turf for Larry Bates. I think this is a good spot, 16,000. Going to add Lasix this afternoon, and we both had the 1 Longtail, who's dropping into the maiden claiming ranks. Also got out of the gate slowly last time.
And that was on the Pegasus World Cup undercard. You knew that was a stacked maiden special weight race. And my notes from his debut were that he looked kind of slow. So So I think the drop in class should suit.
Jack Sisterson, the trainer, Joe Bravo handling inside draw this afternoon. So with that said, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have my Rainbow Six ticket with $1.2 million in that jackpot guarantee.
And they're off. Second in the two path. Ground ball first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Race 5 this afternoon, a 5 furlong turf event. Claim is 4 and up. Nominal is a 3 and a half. Or since August 10th, Ron and Acacia here. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, $1.2 million in the Rainbow Six jackpot guarantee. So I opened up the purse strings and got a $43.20 ticket once again today. and I did go 3 deep in here with Captain Ron, who's my top pick. But I think 3 Outlaws and maybe Face of Victory can run well in there. 2 deep in race 6 with Blue Lou Boyle, but I have Eagerly on top of the ticket. Gmo looks like a lot of people might be singling that horse in race 7, but I also use Cash Now. Tracy Ann Legacy and Bernie trying to turf for the first time. Interesting to see what she does. And my long shot today comes in race number 9, the 5 Royal Squeeze, just on the drop to the $12,500 level. 9-year-old has never run that cheap, or did, maybe many moons ago. So just on the drop for me, a little bit of a play in a $43.20 ticket.
I like it. 1.2 million. Big jackpot pool to expect today. And again, just a 20-cent base wager.
As I mentioned, I started off here with Captain Ron, not because of the name, but I guess
You'd have to pick Captain Ron.
You sort of have to pick it. Is wheeling back a return from the layoff. We're going to go back and show you this horse's last race from the top of the stretch to the wire. I just thought that the number 4 that afternoon, Captain Ron, and you'll see this horse turning for home. He's just always looking for that place to run. You got to wait for a spot to open up, and I just thought that a good ride here gets through and just gets beat by a horse that came back and won the other day again, and that was My Tie Went On. So good race. You're going to see this just to the wire. I don't know if that, traffic there helped this, hindered this horse from winning, but My Tie Went On certainly was highlighted that performance when it came back to win again.
Yeah, My Tie Went On, flattered him surely. And, it's funny because it almost looked like it was kind of diminishing 3/4 length. He was hanging a little bit for me in the stretch, and that's why I backed off a bit. Not to mention the barn has had a little bit of a tough time throughout the meet. But I agree, off of a layoff too, ran a very, very good race in what proved to be a solid field. I took a shot with the 7 Zano boys. This was a clash drop play. I know he's going turf to dirt, or dirt to turf, excuse me, but he has run on the won on the turf before with previous connections. That's actually where he broke his maiden. He has a lot of speed. He's been in solid form, though that was back in May. So he is dropping off the layoff and back to the grass, but felt that this was kind of a speed play and hoping that he's ready off the bench.
The number 4, 3 Outlaws, hoping to get away from the starting gate in a timely fashion today after breaking slowly. Finished 4th behind Captain Ron last time out. So if you like Captain Ron like I did to move forward today, sort of got to use 3 Outlaws on the ticket. It's Kathleen O'Connell. You get MSCL Jaramillo in the saddle.
And I also thought, and clearly we saw this race completely differently, which is kind of funny when you look at it. I thought the 8 Street Copper, who has at this level been running mile races, and I've always kind of preferred him a bit shorter, though he has one going longer. So he's turning back in distance. The last time that he sprinted was in the Maryland Million turf sprint behind Faya off of a year layoff. So I think you can kind of forgive that race and see if he runs a bit better sprinting again today.
The number 3 Face of Victory goes to the Emmy Gaffney barn and hasn't been seen in a long time. Since setting the pace, actually finished 3rd behind a hard-knocking horse that we know very well here, Solio, going a mile in the 16th, but it was a long time ago. Maybe you take a look at this horse coming back, turning back to the 5 furlongs this afternoon. See that race totally different. I'm loving
It's a
that.
very interesting race for sure.
Well, let's go to race number 6. See how different we are in here. Mile in the 16. Maiden claim is 4 and up, 50 down to 40. Kicks off the final pick 5 of the day.
Yeah, and I am 3 deep in here. No singles in either of the pick 5 today. I thought it was a pretty competitive sequence, but I like this race quite a bit. I agree. Blue Lou Boyle, who's off yet another layoff, but has run well fresh before. I'm 3 deep there, 3 deep in race number 7 as well. Even though I agree, JMO off the claim for Victor Bobosa looks tough. I was intrigued by a couple others. In race number 8, I'm 2 deep. I feel like I might just be a little bit light in there, but I've got 2 horses coming out of the Abundancia, which it feels like half the field is. 2 deep in race number 9 as well. Front loaded could be in a good spot off the claim for Kelly Breen, and then wrapping it up with 2 horses in the nightcap.
Yeah, so $36 for the late pick 5 ticket. And as I mentioned, the 6th race, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf for 4 and up, 50 down to 40. And if you're just joining us, we're starting the day with the turf course listed as good. The main track is fast. Very, very sultry afternoon here in South Florida. I went with the number 6. We got our exacta flip-flop. Eagerly is dropping to the 50 level and stretching out to the mile and the 16. Showed some speed last time out. Finished third against maiden special weight runners. Going a mile for Todd Pletcher. Around the top, the gelded son of Pioneer of the Nile. So I just thought with the drop, a little bit of a turn back, Eagerly was the major player in the spot.
I agree. He's never run for a claiming tag before. He's only ever run in maiden special weight competition. Unfortunately, he's taken quite a bit of money in almost all of those starts and has kind of just run the same race, it feels, almost every time. So I do worry with horses like this, even with the drop in class, if they're still going to run to their competition. But he makes sense, as does the 2, Lou Boyle, who's taking a drop in class for the first time, though he hasn't been seen since January of 2020. So it's been about 13 months. But that January race was off of a 6-month layoff, and he was only beaten in neck. So he's shown in the past that he does run well fresh, though clearly he's been a tricky horse to keep on the racetrack.
Yeah, you know, he's got those 3 5-furlong turf workouts showing up at Palm Meadows. So it looks like he'll come back with some bottom to him for Mark Cassie with Luis Saez in the saddle. I closed it out with Moro's team is turning back to the 8.5 after returning from an 11-month layoff to finish second against 35 claimers for Jose D'Angelo, and you get Paco Lopez. Just a horse I'm going to throw somewhere on my try.
And I didn't know what to do with the 5 Brazilianaire who's trying the turf for the first time for Chad Brown. The race came off the turf at Churchill Downs back in November, but again, it was around November where they had kind of suspended turf racing at Churchill Downs, and then neither of the races have been good so far on the dirt. There really isn't a lot of turf pedigree. On the bottom side, it's a Crowlin mare. She's from the family of Good Magic. She was 0 for 2 on turf. The sibling was 0 for 7 on the grass. So we'll see how this one handles the switch to turf and the drop in class. I'm sure at the purchase price, this feels like a little bit of a give up, though.
Well, let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. A 6-furlong sprint on the main track. Claimers 4 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life, 12.5 to $10,000. And as we mentioned, we're going to scratch in the number 5 in here. 2 to 1 on the morning line. You would think Gmo is the one to beat. Going to the Victor Barboza Jr. barn, who's just really good first off the claim. He's over 35%, and that was why I went there. You're going to keep a rad in the saddle today. Looks like a major spot for this horse.
And he was beaten by Manavision last time out, who did come back to win again, so it was a live race that he was coming out of. I agree he is the one to beat, though he hasn't won in a while. His last victory came in March of 2020, so it's been quite a while. The number 9, Cool Hand Coupe, I thought might be kind of rounding back into form. It's a slight drop in class from the 20 back down to the 12.5, as this one has also the only 2 wins have come on the dirt, though those were both off the turf races. And while he's run well on the turf, I do find it kind of intriguing that maybe he just kind of is a dirt horse all along. So we'll see what we get today.
And Cash, now we got to talk about just quickly, is plunging to the 12.5 level after failing to show much against 25 optional claimers going 5 on the turf. It's Brad Cox, Luis Saez. I didn't know what to do with this horse. Talking about that, I just Brad Cox's horse. How do you say? Have not been lighting it on fire yet.
No, and they do tend to take money. Again, it's kind of back to that value conversation. You know, you're really not going to get any value with this one, but it is a significant drop in class. He did win. He was running for 20 non-2 at Keeneland a couple races back, so it could just be a logical spot.
Race number 8 this afternoon. Pretty nice race. 5 furlongs on the turf. Allowance optional claimer. Fillies and mares 4 and up. They could run for that optional claiming price of $62,500. I think when you look at the past performances, number 3, Tracy Ann's Legacy, it looks like it's in a good spot.
Yeah, she is one of a couple in here coming out of the Abundancia, so obviously you'd think that this was anticipated to be a bit of a class drop, and then again, turns out half the field is coming out of that stakes race that was won by Hear My Prayer, who did run in the off-the-turf ladies turf sprint this past weekend, and while she was running on what's not her preferred surface, she did run a very solid race. So this one finished 3rd that day, part of the pace. She was kind of up on top of it while Hear My Prayer closed from off of it. I thought it was a big performance from Tracy Ann's Legacy.
Going to be reunited with Paco Lopez, who rode it to victory 2 starts back. What do you do with Bernie in here?
Yeah.
Who's debuting on the turf, making her first start since really a pretty good sprint campaign until the wheels came off in that stakes competition at Keeneland. I remember talking about her. She was fast. She's really speedy.
She is very, very speedy, and she was very good for a time. Stakes winner here at Gulfstream on a sloppy track, and the last 2 races were disappointing, as you mentioned. One was 7 furlongs in the Charlestown Oaks, which is about 27 turns over there, and then at Keeneland last time against Tougher. She's had trouble at the gate. That's always kind of been one of her issues, and she's trying the turf. The dam never tried the grass, and no siblings won on the turf. There is turf pedigree on the top side with FedBiz, who's by Giants Causeway, so we'll see how she handles it. She's fast. Can she transfer it to the grass?
Yeah, we're going to see that. Edgar Zayas just having a fantastic meet. Will be in the saddle. Wanted to go back and show you a horse that ran pretty well at One Choose Joy, who breaks from the rail again. We're going to go back, and you can see right there, number 1, closing very well here, was 17-1, as you can see on the board, as this horse turns for home. Now gets beat in the race, as you're going to see, by another long shot in here. But I just thought ran exceptionally well just to get, got the inside draw again today. And this horse just keeps coming. And, boy, it is so close. It's one or the other as they cross the wire. I don't know how they call those. So that horse, maybe you put it on your ticket. Certainly, you're not going to get 17-1 this afternoon.
No, but I still think that she'll be a little bit of a price, because I think even though it's the same condition, this is a tougher field than what she faced last time, as again, you have a lot coming out of Stakes Company. But clearly switching to the grass was the right move, and it's our friend in the media office, Ed Gray. It's one of his favorite horses on track right now.
Choose Joy, yes, definitely likes that horse. Will be ridden by Miguel Vasquez. We're going to go to race number 9. There's a 6 furlong allowance optional claimer for state bred 4 and up, or that optional claiming tag of 12.5, and I just thought that probably the one to beat in here is front loaded, but my long shot comes in, and we'll talk about that one first. Royal Squeeze, drop it to the 12.5 level today after returning from the layoff, went up and chased the pace, faded, but it was against 25 optional claimers last time out. This is a hard knocking 9-year-old, hasn't run this cheap, as I said. It's just a class drop play for me. Maybe this horse gets loose at 10 or 12-1 and can spring a little bit of an upset here in race number 9.
And faced some talented horses in Untitled and Arham last time out, so I think this maybe could be a good spot. I did bite with the probably likely favorite in front loaded, and we'll show a stat for Kelly Breen off the claim. I thought that this was pretty interesting too, as we've been talking about it. Here's a look. First off the claim with dirt sprints, 31% win, 12 for 39, and 51% of the time in the money with a positive ROI. Now this one with Irad Ortiz in the saddle, probably going to be a shorter price, but the numbers back it up.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a shorter price. Ray's Warrior is going back to his best surface for me, at least as I'm concerned, and drop it to the 12.5 level. First race since the claim by Colin Marat. He's the other 9-year-old in the field. Talking about older horses in the Royal Squeeze, and this one's also a 9-year-old. We'll keep it a family affair. Got Rajiv Miraj at the controls today. Maybe this one runs okay in this particular spot.
Yeah, this is kind of, I think, a competitive race, a tricky race as well. I thought the 3 Apache at a bit of a price nearly made this one my long shot, but he faced a very talented and in-form horse in Reserve Not Attained last time out, who just won again this past weekend. We'll see if back in state-bred competition, he can kind of get back to some of those nice wins he had a few races back.
We're on the turf for our final race. A mile claimers, fillies and mares, 4 and up, 20 down to $16,000. And we both have the number 3 Courvoisier, the Irish bred, on top of our ticket. And
well done with the pronunciation.
Yeah, well, I know the what do you call it? The Cavassier Liquors, and that's how I know.
Oh, there you go.
But
That
it's
makes
that with a,
sense. That
that's with a
makes
C.
sense.
That's with a C. So I just add a little K to it. I want to just go back and show the start of Cavassier. It was up at Tampa back on the December 12th. It is the #1 horse in here. You just gets, completely shut off in here. We're going to show you. You'll see. Ends up, it happens in a couple of moments now. Just see, it gets just shuffled back to last in the field. Just nowhere to go in there. I just thought, definitely cost this horse major position early on in the race. And just, it's sitting back there and then turns for home. And it's just out there near the popcorn stand trying to get going. So I just thought with that start, logical horse for Eddie Keneally to be here. Just doesn't run, that well. Just got, just basically finishes the race there. But I just wanted to show the bad start and, just getting parked wide, turning for home. Had no other choice but to take the overland route.
Well, I think what happened was that the horse once again got pretty rank, which is what happened 2 starts back at Churchill in his first start or her first start, I should say, in the U.S. I mean, you could see her throwing her head up there, and Sammy Camacho had no choice but to kind of take her back, and that's when you get in really tight on the rail and had nowhere to go. So she unfortunately hasn't been the easiest to handle on the racetrack. So the drop-in class makes sense, and not to belabor the point with a horse that will likely be a favorite, but here's his stat on Eddie Keneally to back it up. First time for a claiming tag on the turf. He bats at about 20% and more than half of the time in the money. So this one with Jose Ortiz, I think the drop makes sense. Hopefully she's able to kind of put her head down and relax a little bit, as she has been kind of frank and struggling there, throwing her head up early on.
Well, Jose Ortiz, what a man you want on board.
Yeah.
He knows how to handle horses like that.
Very
What about
soft hands,
the,
yeah.
excuse me, what about the 4 in here, All About Catherine? It's been knocking on the door in both local turf outings at this level for Mary Epler, Paco Lopez. Looks like this one's got a little bit of seconditis.
A little bit, but the last couple, both at this level, I agree, were solid, make a lot of sense, was beaten at short prices in both of those efforts, but has run well.
Yeah, and I used Lovely Brown to close up my try for Steve Cluceris. Luis Saez named to ride. Went up, disputed the pace last time out.
I think this is an interesting race. It goes through the 3 on the drop-in class, so we'll see how that does play out.
That's Cavassier.
Cavassier, yeah.
All right, let's take a look at our lightning round this afternoon. We have a pretty interesting one today. Starts off a little shaky, but
It does. It does. Some unfortunate news we have to share here. Luca Panici, he did have a fall on Saturday, and he has been announced suffered some broken vertebrae. So get well soon, Luca. He'll be out for a while. But the good news is, doctors saying he does not need surgery.
yeah, they just an unfortunate fall, and a great guy. And Luca, we'll see him back here sooner than later. These guys are so tough.
They are, and we're certainly sending get well soon wishes to Luca. Hope to see him back in the saddle soon, but we will be missing him here at Gulfstream for a little while. Keeping on the jockeys theme, though, the U.S. will be represented by John Velasquez in the International Jockeys Challenge the day before the Saudi Cup, and wishing the best of luck to Johnny V, holding our colors over there.
Yeah, he has just been riding in his zone. What a year he's had, 2020, and of course he's going to continue it. So good luck to Johnny Velasquez representing us over there in the Saudi Cup.
That'll be February 19th for the Jockeys Challenge, the day before the Saudi Cup, where he'll ride Tacitus for Bill Mott. We have to bid farewell, meanwhile, and say rest in peace to Fast Anna. Here he is winning the Sawgrass here at Gulfstream back in 2015, Ron. He certainly was very fast, unfortunately, due to complications from laminitis, which he suffered from over a month.
Yeah, he was the most aptly named horse, Fast. He was lightning fast. Look at the fractions up there, 21-1, 43-3. And Mikey Ritvo in the saddle getting a win that afternoon.
Yeah, we certainly condolences to the connections. He'd been a promising young sire as well. Very, very sad news to hear as far as Fast Anna is concerned. A horse that was very fast as a 2-year-old, and that is Jackie's Warrior, getting ready now for trainer Steve Asmussen for a 3-year-old debut in the Southwest. Ron, his 2-year-old campaign was very impressive.
I was just looking, I pulled the past performances on us, perfectly, 4 for 4, and then finishes 4th to Essential Quality in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But what a horse. Everybody was trying to duck him all summer long.
This is his win in the Champagne. You see Joel Rosario looking between his legs. There's nobody even close to him, and he might meet Essential Quality once again in the Southwest. So that could be pretty interesting to see those horses team up as now 3-year-olds and see where they do stand. We have a feel-good story to wrap up today's lightning round, though. This is not about you, Ron. This is Nicoletti, the horse.
Yeah, Nicoletti, the horse there you see, was retired. My cousin Tom named it after the family, Nicoletti. And this one now in Megan Staley's barn. She's got a little small farm up in Arkansas, and she teaches young kids how to ride. And so Nicoletti's finally doing some good. He couldn't win for a ham
Aw.
sandwich, but he's a good boy. And he's had 39 lifetime starts. He tried every one of them.
I love this. This is awesome. Teaching the next generation, and he looks like he's so relaxed. He's just kind of going along. He's doing his thing. I love to see that succeeding in his next career.
Yeah, my cousin Tom Mine, of course, an owner up there in New York, and she also takes care of a couple other horses that he retired to teach youngsters how to ride.
That's awesome. Congratulations to Tom and to Nicoletti, who's finding his true calling now off the racetrack. But you have to stay on the racetrack here, Ronnie. We need you here, especially with the weekend you had, all the winners you gave out. Let's try to get some more this week as we send it up to track announcer Pete Aiello for scratches and changes.